Welcome, everybody, to The World is Mess. I just went to Steampunk it. This is episode 70, July 12th, 2022. I'm your host, Steampunk Star Raisin, and I am here in North Hollywood, California, USA. And I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Bertison. He is in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. So how's it going, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You know what, the other day, was last Saturday, I went and saw Thor Love and Thunder. I know we talked about it in our previous podcast, but you talked about it from your point of view and did a spoiler-free review of it. Now I'm going to talk about it from my point of view, and this is going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen Thor Love and Thunder and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this video. Don't listen to this podcast. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it was good. It was entertaining. It wasn't great. It was borderline good, okay. I would give it like a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. I felt like it did have some flaws. It wasn't as good as Thor Ragnarok. I like Thor Ragnarok much better. I mean, and it was a little bit too goofy and too silly at times. It almost seemed like a comic parody of itself. And then there were some darker tones to it that, it got more serious, and so it somewhat balanced it out. But I did think it was a little bit too goofy. Christian Bale does a really good job of portraying Gore. The only problem is I think the script was a little bit weak in the background of Gore's motivations, because you see him, his daughter dies there in the desert. You don't really get a lot of background. It's very vague, very minimalistic. I mean, like, his daughter, who was the mother? What happened to the mother? I guess she died. It's assumed that she died. They didn't really go too far into the background. I think I would have liked to have seen a little bit of a background of Gore when his life was normal, and then when the famine happened, the drought happened, and then his whole tribe and his people died. That would have had a little bit more of an emotional impact than just his daughter. It just seemed a little bit artificially contrived, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, yeah, you understand Gore's motive for wanting to kill the gods in the MCU, but also thought it was a little bit contrived with, it seemed like it seems like he had killed Zeus because he struck him through the chest, and he had a big hole in his chest. But then you see in one of the post-credit scenes, Thor being, nursed back to health. And I guess because he is a god, that even if he gets a hole in the chest, he can't die. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, it was good. It was entertaining. I still like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness better. What's your response to that?
Yeah. Like I said, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it was good, but it didn't have enough It didn't have enough universes. I was kind of hoping for more exploration of the multiverse, but
Well, they introduced in the post-credit scene with Zeus, they introduced Hercules, which in the comics, Hercules had been an Avenger several times.
So yeah, this is like his entrance into MCU Earth, and maybe he stays there and he joins the Avengers, and yeah, that'd be great. But you know what? I really thought, did you think that did you think Thor killed Zeus? I did.
Yeah, the way they set it up, they made it seem like he killed it, and he's like, well, for killing Zeus, the gods, I forgot what he called it, Legion of Gods or whatever. He said that the gods are going to probably come after him.
So I thought to myself, yeah, he killed him, but then when the post-credit scene, when they revealed that he didn't die, yeah.
It was a little bit contrived. because like even Thor is capable of dying, and he lost his eye, and he got a cybernetic eye. It just seemed very very contrived. We're like, oh, we want to shock the audience and convince the audience that he killed Zeus, but then we're going to make it where Zeus still lived, but he's just critically injured and sends Hercules for vengeance. Yeah, it was a little bit contrived plot device, in my opinion. I hate when they do fake deaths like that. I mean, and they don't really properly explain it. It's
So I guess Thor
it's
5
lazy
is
writing. It's kind of like in the Kenobi series where the Inquisitor, is stabbed through the chest. He seemingly dies, but then he just comes back and he's like, "Oh, I got vengeance."
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah,
just don't like that. I don't like that when they do that.
Yeah, it's very contrived, and it makes it seem like no death is serious and no death is for real, and that anybody could come back at any time. And yeah, it kind of hurt the movie a little bit. Like I said, I don't know, maybe I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I mean, it was good. It was borderline good, okay. It wasn't great. It was entertaining, but I was disappointed. I definitely liked Doctor Strange and Into the Multiverse of Madness better. So far, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is my favorite MCU movie this year.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man No Way Home, I like that as well, but that was last year's movie that came out in 2021.
Yeah.
So as far as MCU movies of 2022, I would say Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is still my favorite. But yeah, it was entertaining. A little bit too goofy at times, a little bit too contrived at times. It had some story flaws written into it. So definitely not as good as Thor Ragnarok. Because I thought Thor Ragnarok had a better balance of humor, action, and drama. But yeah, so that's all I really have to say about Thor Love and Thunder.
But
On a
didn't you
scale of
think?
1 to 10, I give it a 6.5.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Didn't you think it was hilarious that little commentary they made? Like, remember when before Thor went to look for the kids, he was telling Asgard,
Oh,
we'll
what was
bring
with that weird? Also, what is with that weird god of that looked like a cartoon character? And they showed it more than once.
which one do you mean?
He had like a little smiley face, looked like a cup. It was really stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. What is it in the city?
It's Zeus's palace.
Yeah. That one. Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
It was like he was the god of. Let's see. Let me Google it. Silly god in Thor. Smiley. No, there was this, it looked like a cartoon character. It was a cup. I'll have to watch it again. It was just and they showed it more than once. It wasn't just one brief cameo. They showed it for a couple of seconds. And it was, I guess, meant to be a joke. He was like the god of some food or something, and he was like a cup with a smiley face.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah, it was a weird. It was kind of strange.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. I thought it distracted. It took me out of the movie. It was a little bit too goofy and a little bit too cartoonish. Now, I did like Eternity. That looked like something straight out of the comic books. It looked like something like Steve Ditko or Jack Kirby would have drawn. It looked straight out of Marvel.
It
in
was
you know like
cool.
the Marvel Cosmic. So that part was cool. So there were things to like about it, but I do feel like it was flawed, and I don't think it was as good as Thor: Love and Thunder. Did you like Thor: Love and Thunder better, or did you like this movie better?
Um, I don't know, really. I mean,
I mean, did you like Thor Ragnarok or Thor: Love and Thunder better?
I think I like well, I think I,
Ragnarok had the Hulk in it, remember?
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
gladiatorial. And it's also had
Well, that's a really good question. I'm not really sure. Ragnarok had great things, and Love and Thunder had great things, and I just wanted to see more from Love and Thunder. But yeah, I think Love and Thunder would be a little bit better because it was the latest one and it showed some pretty cool things.
yeah, they never really explained what happened to Hela either. She just kept coming at the end, and he ended up just having to leave her. But yeah, so Thor: Love and Thunder overall, I give it a 6.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Not as good as Thor Ragnarok, but I would say it is better than the first two Thor movies. I was more entertained. Like the first Thor movie, I thought was kind of boring. The second Thor movie was a little bit boring. Um, I would say it was the second best Thor movie. Not as good as Ragnarok, but still
Hmm.
better than Thor 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. So, anything else on your mind before we move on to another topic? Anything else you want
Uh,
to comment about Thor: Love and Thunder? I guess we could move on to another topic. What else is on your mind?
like I don't know. Well, I'm not really,
Okay,
not really.
here I know what to talk about.
Hmm.
My girlfriend sent me this link that Starbucks. This is outrageous to me. Starbucks is going to close 6 locations in LA where I live due to safety concerns. And I say safety concerns in quotations because I believe this is actually a ruse, an excuse to fire or to shut down Starbucks that will possibly vote to unionize. They've probably done a survey, they've done a poll, and they determined that these Starbucks were most likely to unionize. And hold on, let me look up the article. But yeah, it is a violation of labor law to fire or lay people off if they try to unionize.
Hmm.
So, all right, let me share this with you. Share screen. Do you see that?
Yep. Starbucks to close six
ABC,
stores
Channel
in LA.
7, Starbucks to close 6 stores in LA amid safety concerns like drug use, mental health crisis. Starbucks is closing 6 stores in the Los Angeles area. This is, like I said, on ABC, Channel 7 News, among 16 nationwide out of concerns about employee safety. I think it's more concerned about Starbucks safety against unions.
Hmm.
Anyway, I think that's the real reason. They don't want unions. A couple of Starbucks out east, like in New York, have already voted to unionize. And I think these Starbucks would be most likely to unionize. Listen, like I've been to like Starbucks at 6th Street where you have a lot of like rough people from Skid Row hanging out inside the Starbucks, people wanting to pick fights, people in mental distress. You hire security, you hire extra security. Starbucks doesn't want to do that. They don't want to hire extra employees. They don't want its employees to actually make a living wage or actually be treated fairly or correctly. They'd rather just close them because then they can always reopen them later. And this helps them to disrupt labor. So I believe that the real reason why Starbucks is closing 6 stores in the LA area, it's not because of health and safety concerns. They don't. If they cared about the health and safety of their employees, they would pay them a living wage. But no, it's more about these are stores that are likely to unionize. And it's cheaper for them to just shut them down and then reopen up Starbucks in a similar location, which they've done before, than to actually allow them to unionize. Walmart in Canada did that. There was a Walmart, I don't know, like 10 years ago, there was a Walmart in Canada that voted to unionize, and Walmart just shut it down. And so, yeah, if we continue to allow these companies to abuse unions, abuse labor rights, abuse employees, they're going to continue to do it. So employees need to stand up against this and say, hey, what you're doing, Starbucks, is illegal. The real reason why you're shutting down is because you don't want people to unionize. You don't want people to have a living wage or good benefits because you just want to exploit labor. It's really a form of human trafficking. When you're paying because it costs employees money to work. You got to have a place to live. You got to have transportation. You got to be able to take a shower every day. So that means you got to have access to running water. They got to be able to pay utilities. And it costs a certain amount of money. But we're getting to the point where most entry-level jobs don't even pay, particularly here in LA, don't even pay enough money to afford a one-bedroom apartment. So how the heck do you expect people to continue to work for sub-living wages? And also another thing is it may be due to the fact that a lot of like fast food places like Starbucks tend to have problems even hiring enough employees because like LA has a labor shortage in certain industries because the average cost of rent here is $2,600 a month. And even though you could probably get a job at McDonald's making $17 an hour, $17 an hour by the time you pay state income tax at 10%, by the time you pay 12% payroll tax, you're not making enough money to live. So, and actually in recent years, the population of LA has slightly declined. I think like it's declined by like 100,000 people, but LA is no longer growing anymore in population. And it's because it's become too expensive to live here. I'm a disabled military vet. I received disability, and it's the only reason why I'm able to live here in North Hollywood. Anyway, but I don't really want to talk about me. I want to focus more on, this so-called safety concern. And it says, yeah, safety concerns were cited at some stores include drug use, a growing mental health crisis. Yeah, if you're living on the street and you have no place to live and there's not a job that you could find that will even pay you to afford a one-bedroom apartment, I would say that's a good mental health concern. But yeah, they're apparently going to be closing Starbucks in Santa Monica and Westmont in West Hollywood. I've never been to that one. Hollywood and Western. Oh, I've been to that one. See, the one in Hollywood and Western, I can give you a first-hand perspective. That Starbucks is dead half the time. That's just a bad location, and it's dead half the time. And then you also have First in Los Angeles, Hollywood and Vine. Hollywood and Vine, yeah, that's right by the Metro Red Line. And there's a lot of homeless people that hang out by there. I will admit to that. So some of these that they've listed that they're closing, I've been to. Like I've been to Hollywood and Western Starbucks. I've been to Hollywood and Vine, Oceanfront Walk in Moss, Santa Monica. And, it's like, hey, Starbucks, you see that highlighted right there?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Starbucks, Hollywood and Vine, you want more customers? Why don't you reopen up your charging ports, because what they did is they started being a jerk. Like I've been to Hollywood and Vine. I used to hang out there, and I used to, when I didn't have a place to live, I used to charge my laptop and my cell phone until they decided to be a jerk. They were like, well, we're going to filter out all the homeless people by removing all the charging plugs. It doesn't matter if they're not causing any problems. We're going to penalize all of our customers for, drug addicts and people who are mentally ill, causing a disruption. And if you have problems with drug addicts and mentally ill causing a disruption, hire security, hire an off-duty police officer. But they don't want to do that. They don't care about safety. They care about being cheap. Starbucks is far from caring about safety. But yeah, this makes me mad. This really makes me mad. What's your response to that, Daniel? I want to hear your opinion on Starbucks closing 16 stores in the United States, including 6 in LA. What's your opinion about that?
That this is typical corporate mentality. Like they just they don't care about their workers. They just care about the bottom dollar, right? They just care about the money.
Yeah, because what they'll do is they'll just close these Starbucks, and then what they're going to do is they're going to reopen more Starbucks at a similar location, and this disrupts organization of union labor, because now you're hiring all new employees, and the new employees may not know that they have the right to unionize, or they may, and it takes them more time. It takes time to be able to organize and unionize, and then to vote on that, and to organize that takes time. And this is a good way of disrupting. And if they could claim safety concerns, it's a way of deferring legal consequence, because if they actually admitted, hey, these Starbucks might actually unionize, we don't want unions, so we're just going to lay everybody off, that's against the law. That's against the law. So they're going to hide behind safety concerns as a way to goat people into believing they're BS. And trust me, it's bullshit. But it's like I've always said, it's more difficult than just boycotting Starbucks or boycotting Walmart, because this is corporate America, man. The Fortune 500, they all treat their employees like dog crap. Walmart led the way, and now all these companies are copying. Target treats their employees like crap. Walmart treats their employees like crap. Starbucks treats their employees like crap. Amazon treats their employees like crap and pays them low wages. It's a matter of creating a movement where labor all across the country has to resist corporate power. You have to resist corporate power and stand up against corporate power. Otherwise, they will stamp you out without a second thought. But yeah, we've got about 7 minutes left. Any other thoughts on this topic before we move on to another topic?
Yeah, this is very sad, and like the mental health crisis is growing. I mean, like you well know, I live.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay. Don't get me wrong. Like Hollywood Western, I've been assaulted there before, and it is kind of rough. And there's a lot of homeless people that hang out at Hollywood Western. There's a lot of homeless people that hang out at Hollywood and Vine. And yeah, if you're living on the streets and you don't have a safe place to sleep, and you're constantly being bothered by police that tell you to wake up and move on, yeah, you're not going to be in the best mental health. And we don't really have good facilities or good enough social services. Like if somebody is mentally ill and not able to work and they're homeless on the street, it could take them years to find Section 8 housing. It took me 5 years to find Section 8 housing. So yeah, it could take years to get the help that you need. And in the meantime, society suffers for years on end. And so, yeah, the problem is growing larger. The homeless problem, the mental health crisis is growing larger then they're spending money to combat it. So the problem is growing. They spend money to counter it, but the problem is growing larger than the amount of money that they're spending. And so until we are willing to do a serious overhaul of social services, and I mean like expand social services, expand social safety nets, things are going to continue to get worse in this country. I mean, there are parts of United States that are in parts of LA that resemble third world countries. Run down, beat up. So I guess it all depends on where you stand. Do you stand with human rights or do you not? It's that simple. It's really that simple. Do you stand with the right to live, the right to a living wage, or do you not? And if you don't, that means you're a fascist and you're a douchebag. And you don't respect human life. You don't respect human beings. You may, conservatives in the United States may claim to be pro-life, but they're only pro-life until the fetus is born, and then they're no longer pro-life anymore. They're no longer for expanding welfare or social safety net or, paid family leave. They're no longer for any of that crap. And they're no longer for living wages or giving people a fair chance to survive. No, they're not for any of that. They're, it's all about control, all about control. But yeah, in the United States, we got to be careful because fascism won't be draped with the swastika. It'll be draped in crosses and the American flag. It'll just be rebranded fascism. But anyway, so we got 3 minutes left. Any other thoughts?
Look, I was going to say, I know what it's like. I think we all feel the mental health crisis. I mean, I do. As you well know, I feel the mental health crisis. I can't even cry anymore without my mom going insane and abusing me, chasing me across the house, or calling the police and having me arrested just because I cried and I'm so fucking lonely. I can't even do that.
You have to get out on your own, dude. You need to get your own apartment. You're way too picky. I've advised you on that years ago, but yeah, just work with your therapist to get your own apartment, get your own place to live.
I mean, like I said, I've been abused by cops and they got away. What do you think about that? Cops
I mean,
every day and they get away with it.
It's police culture.
They get away with it.
They don't have mental health training. And because they don't have mental health training, they don't know what to do. They just view it as an annoyance. And it's not right. And it seems like Canada has similar problems to the United States because Canada seems to like to mirror and copy the way United States does business, although things are slightly better in Canada than they are in the United States. You don't have the level of poverty in Canada like you do in the United States, but it's not great and it's not right. But it is what it is. You have to try to just make the best of it. Are you still there?
Yeah. I mean,
you have to try to make the best. You have to try to make the best of it and survive. Your goal is to survive. What can you do to reach your goal? I know you want to have a girlfriend. You want to date one day. Well, you need to get your own place to live, and you need to use dating service online or something. You need to get out. You need to be able to go to comic book conventions. You need to get out. You need to explore the world instead of just staying in your mom's house, and you're not going to really be able to do that until you move out on your own. So I think that if you just focus on the goal of what you need, it's building blocks. It's you got to crawl before you can walk, but you got to be able to, you got to work with your therapist to get a place to live. Doesn't matter how long it takes, just focus on that goal, and that will be the next step to what you want in your overall goal.
I mean, she didn't call today because she's on vacation.
Okay. Well, just keep at it. That's all you can do. You're fighting to survive. You want to survive, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well then fight to survive. What would Captain Picard do? Anyway, fight to survive. And your next step is to try to focus on getting your own place. I think things will get better for you once you get your own place. I'll try to give you advice the best I can. I don't have a lot of money. All I can give you is advice. But
Yeah, it's
anyway,
okay.
we're out of time. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is episode 70, July the 12th, 2022. I'm your host, Steampunk Star Raisin, here in North Hollywood, California, USA, and I'm here with Daniel Bertison in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. You have a nice day. No, soon, 25 billion years, I will. Oops.